Hello, welcome back to This Week in Biotech by Biotech Blueprint. Today it's edition number 68, covering biotech and pharma news from August 29th to September 4th, 2025. And there's a lot to cover this week. Gilead had several updates this week. For one, it was the US State Department, PEPFAR, and the Global Fund are partnering with the company to roll out lenacapavir, its twice-yearly HIV prevention shot, at cost in high-burden countries. The goal is to reach up to 2 million people over 3 years, with Gilead supplying at no profit. Remember, lenacapavir won FDA approval in June and European nod in July of this year. In the United States, there's a different headline. Gilead is reportedly seeking high single-digit price increases on several HIV medicines used by the AIDS drug assistance programs, which currently support around 110,000 low-income patients. And the company just broke ground on a 180,000 square foot development and manufacturing center in Foster City, part of a planned $32 billion build out through 2030. Okay, next, there's more vaccine turbulence in Washington, D.C. After firing CDC Director Susan Monares last week. HHS installed Deputy Secretary Jim O'Neill as an acting CDC head, which is definitely an interesting choice. You can read more about his background in the full edition of This Week in Biotech. Reports say HHS may replace several vaccine advisors again just before the September 18-19 ACIP meeting, after already reshuffling the panel in June. On Capitol Hill yesterday, RFK Jr. defended the shakeups and cuts to mRNA funding and got bipartisan pushback. Meanwhile, Pfizer, Moderna, and Novavax publicly defended the evidence behind COVID-19 vaccines. And pharmacies like CVS and Walgreens are flagging patchy access to the updated shots this season. Some states now require prescriptions for certain ages or risk groups. In a few states, CVS says it can't vaccinate at all due to local rules. FDA cleared updated shots for all seniors and for younger people only with qualifying risk factors, driving those state-by-state differences. I'm personally a little bit worried about the upcoming season, the upcoming flu, COVID, respiratory virus season, especially now that there's not access to the vaccines. I think people should definitely have the choice if they want to be vaccinated with the COVID vaccines, but I believe that the CDC and all the other agencies should be unified. Now there is this mismatch between the American Academy of Pediatrics, the CDC, and on top of that, you have to go to your physician to get a prescription. And I think that's definitely going to drive these vaccination rates down. I'm just hoping that the flu season this year is not so bad, and so we don't get this double whammy by COVID and by flu. In a similar vein, Florida's Surgeon General says the state will end all vaccine mandates, including long-standing school requirements for measles, polio, MMR, and chickenpox. Non-statutory lines could be dropped now. The rest would go through lawmakers, potentially making Florida the first state in modern times to scrap school shot mandates. Major medical groups, including the AMA and the Florida chapter of the American Association of Pediatrics, warn the move risks outbreaks and reverses decades of progress. For context, CDC analysis estimate routine childhood vaccination has prevented about 508 million illnesses, 32 million hospitalizations, and over 1 million deaths among U.S. children since 1994. So I obviously feel quite strongly about this. As a scientist, as a mom, I think that political beliefs aside, everyone in society should want their children and children in general in any country to be safe and healthy and protected. We have the means to do it. We have these vaccines. They have been tested. They have been validated for decades. The numbers speak volumes. We have prevented with these vaccines over 1 million deaths in the United States in the past 30 years. I mean, what more do people want? I don't know. I do feel concerned for the children in Florida, for everyone immunocompromised in Florida. This is definitely a concerning direction for not just Florida, but the whole United States and Western world. Next, the FDA now recommends an extra MRI before the third infusion of Leqembi to catch an early brain swelling called ARIA-E, moving monitoring up from prior 5th, 7th, and 14th infusion schedule after regulators reviewed more than 100 serious cases and several early treatment deaths. 1 day later, FDA approved Leqembi Iclic, a once-weekly subcutaneous auto-injector for maintenance after 18 months of IV therapy, with US launch set for October 6, 2025. Next is United Therapeutics phase 3 TETON-2 trial of inhaled Tyvaso in idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis met its primary goal. It improved absolute forced vital capacity over 52 weeks versus placebo, and several secondary measures also moved in the right direction with no new safety signals. The stock jumped more than 40%, and partners and competitors, Mankind, Liquidia, Insmed, traded up too. Tyvaso already has orphan designation for idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, with a full data reveal coming at ERS Amsterdam, a conference on September 28th. The sister trial, TETON-1, reads out in the first half of 2026. So my take is that in IPF, even incremental lung function gain matters. And if TETON-1 confirms, a label expansion could open a meaningful multi-billion-dollar market. Next is Ionis' Olezarsen. The drug delivered big wins in severe hypertriglyceridemia across more than 1,000 patients, up to a 72% placebo-adjusted reduction in fasting triglycerides at 6 months, and an 85% reduction in acute pancreatitis events at 12 months, with a favorable safety and tolerability profile. A supplemental NDA is planned for year-end, and the stock popped over 35%. And then lastly, I want to talk a little bit about deals. There are two major deals this week. Novartis is paying $200 million upfront plus a $2 billion in milestones and royalties for Arrowhead's preclinical RNAi targeting alpha-synuclein in Parkinson's. It is a second swing at a tough target after a prior effort fizzled, but Arrowhead's TRiM platform aims for subcutaneous delivery to deep brain regions, which is key for central nervous system drugs. Separately, Vertex Pharmaceuticals signed a 4-year collaboration with Enlaza to apply its covalent biologics called Warlock platform to small format drug conjugates and T-cell engagers in autoimmune disease and gentler conditioning for sickle cell and beta thalassemia. $45 million upfront and equity with more than $2 billion in milestones and royalties. These are definitely smart, platform-heavy bets. CNS RNAi and covalent biologics are high risk, high reward lanes that could expand what's druggable. That's all for this week. There's definitely more news that I cover in this week's edition, number 68. Make sure to check it out. Make sure to subscribe on Substack, YouTube, Spotify. I really appreciate your support. And thank you so much for listening, for reading Biotech Blueprint.